So I don't know, like, I'm not sure to be honest. I really don't know, like, specifically what I would
Okay.
have it be.
I was asking this to someone
Rocket Jet
else
feet. She
in
gets
a
her rockets back.
Jesus. I was asking this to someone else in a previous podcast, but sort of tangentially related to this. So assuming that like we just had Ikimoto on the podcast and he just breaks every NDA ever, and we ask him, "Hey, is Akebi Kawaki's mom?" and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna reveal that at a future point." So assuming you just know this to be the fact, what do you want them to do with that revelation in the story? What's the point of it? What does it
Well,
achieve?
I already said this in the past, actually.
What comes from it?
Um,
What do you
with
want
a
them to do?
Delta
Yeah.
character identity related thing, to where Delta can obviously find this out. If Delta finds out that Kawaki's, you know, Akebi is Kawaki's mom, that could have Delta start to question like her own feelings and stuff like that. And so she keeps trying to decide like her own story, who she wants to be and stuff. And you can just play with the.
There it is. Take it from the top.
Okay, so like I said,
Uh-huh.
um, I would want them to approach it. So again, I'm gonna preface it this time by starting with this. I'm scared that they will just be a revelation and nothing more. But I
Oh
would like
no.
them to play with the concept from several angles.
Yes.
The first of which is Delta herself having, because identity concepts are prevalent in this arc. And so you would have Delta try to decide like who Delta is as a person, different from Akebi. And it would be nice to have some Akebi traits involved. Like maybe that's why she wants to protect Kawaki so much. And she can start to question, what's her own feelings versus Akebi feelings. And then other aspects would be, well, Kawaki's feelings towards Delta, knowing that she's the clone of her mom. Kawaki's feelings towards Amado's master plan, knowing that it will revive, or thinking that it will revive his mom. Does Kawaki want to just essentially delete Delta to replace her with his real mom? Or will he just want to keep Delta around, the person he knows, and so on? Maybe he's gotten close to her. Who will he want to have? And the other aspect is, assuming Amado's master plan is going to create a Delta Otsutsuki, like was kind of hinted at when Kawaki's like, "You swear it won't do this?" And Amado does his awful fake cry, "I don't know what will happen." Yeah, right, liar. Um, Assuming things go haywire, how would Kawaki feel towards this Otsutsuki mom of his? Because it's kind of
That's
like
what
if
I want.
Naruto became an Otsutsuki.
Yeah.
How would he feel about that? I want them to play with all of these angles if they're going to
Exactly.
do this.
My
Because
biggest
otherwise, it
problem,
just feels so underwhelming compared to what it has for potential.
yeah, my problem is as it is right now, there's not a chance Kawaki's gonna care, considering it's Delta of all freaking people. That's like if Jigen
Yeah.
the monk, not Ishiki, but Jigen the monk was his biological father, and that's a revelation in the future. He's not gonna care.
Yeah, it's just like, does Kawaki. I don't think Kawaki's going to care about Akebi at all, to be honest.
Yeah. Unless he bonds
Like
with
if
Delta in the same
Naruto's.
way, but that's not happening as of now. Or if it is, it's the worst
Yeah,
bonding I've
exactly.
ever
It would be
seen.
nice if they had this, but it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like they're bonding too well.
And if you remember on the stream we did with Koru-san, to the other guest YouTuber guy, with the time skip one, what not the time skip, it was the time leap, time
On loop.
future, time loop. Thank you. I got the time LP part right. Missed those middle two letters. Yeah, the time loop theory stream we did. We were talking about like Kawaki going back to confront his biological father and everything they could do with that. And so I think going along with that, this could be the perfect opportunity to play with that, as well as what we were saying about if Kawaki is his grandfather or whatever. And same thing there. That I'm worried it's going to be just a revelation if they do that, but that's not the question. The question is, assuming it's revealed, what would you like them to do with it? So the direction you would want them to go with, which is what you've answered. So But moving to that, I've already intertwined those answers based on the Koro stream. What would you like them to do with the revelation that Kawaki is related to Amado, whether it's father, grandfather, Kawaki from the future, I don't care, whatever revelation you want to play with?
That one's tougher.
Interesting.
Because it feels... I think from Amado's angle, we already can see he seems to care way more about his daughter or his ulterior motives than he does as Kawaki's a human, because Kawaki is like a tool for him, the way he treats him, which is interesting. Why did he ever come to that? Is it like, I would like to just kind of get some of that, but from Kawaki's angle is the more interesting one.
I have a really dumb idea. So
I have a harder time with that one, what I want to come out of that.
Really dumb idea. What if the Kawaki we're following isn't Kawaki, but a Kawaki clone / robot? Similar to Five Nights at Freddy's, how you were reading that one novel about Charlie or whatever, and turns out that Charlie was actually one of the animatronics the whole time, and not even she realized it until the end of the story.
Well, no, I mean, that is a possibility.
I mean, yeah, Kawaki, it's sort of the same with Delta.
I mean, granted, this would be a retcon from when Mitsuki asked Katasuke, hey, I wonder if he's like me and was created from scratch. And Katasuke's like, nah, bro, I can tell. It's not like you. You know, he's just a human who was modified, so...
Yeah, like, what if Kawaki did die getting the karma in that one water bag thing? That'd be tragic backstory.
Yeah, then Amado just cloned a Kawaki until it worked.
Yeah. At that point, why have any other children at all? But
yeah, like why? Was it because Kawaki was so close? Or maybe Kawaki was compatible, but he was too weak to survive. So Amado clones the dead Kawaki, but makes him stronger so that he can survive.
You know what that would be like? That would be like the Akatsuki capturing the 9 tails and then cutting off every individual tail and then sealing it for like the 1 tails plus 2 tails plus 3 tails plus 4 tails, and there you're at 9 tails. I guess the 1 tails would be left off, but yeah, you just get the 2, 3, and 4 tails through the 9 tails. You don't have to go capture them anymore.
No, another question I was wondering though is, why didn't Jigen just have Amado clone Jigen but make his body stronger? You already know Jigen's compatible. Like, why are you bothering these kids? Just make a stronger Jigen. Can't you just? I mean, you made Jiraiya this much stronger. Surely you could do the same for Jigen.
Would Shibai well cells even work on Jigen? He's already Otsutsuki. Like, if anything, would his body reject it? I don't know how it would work.
That's a tricky one because
it's almost like giving Hashirama
Jigen's
cells
both to Otsutsuki and not Otsutsuki.
It's like giving Hashirama cells to Butama. That's like not quite the same, but you get the idea. Like, does that even work?
I mean, it definitely would work in his case. He would just get stronger. Because Butama surely wasn't that strong.
I mean, technically Hashirama cells are Butama cells. Like, that's where it comes from. That's where it originated.
Yeah, but that mom, we don't know what her influence was.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure the mom was the one that really made Hashirama strong there. But anyway, the mom was one of those 2 Otsutsuki sewn tablet people.
Yeah. At this point,
Kenji.
I want those 2 to be Orochimaru log. The dumbest thing possible.
Screw it. At this point, make one of them Kimi Maru. Cool. I don't even care what you do with the other one. Make it Urashiki. No, even better. Have Urashiki be both of them. He gets 2.
Yeah. There's the Urashiki pre Iida's eyes and focus
Yes.
Iida's eyes.
That's so
Even though they
stupid.
didn't do that for Momoshiki.
I know. I don't care. I'm fine with it. Oh my god. Okay, so anyways, back to the topic we derailed away from. So, yeah, so Kawaki, Grandpa Amado direction.
I mean, what would you want to see from that?
Again, that goes back to the Koru stream, what we were saying there, which that's the one thing that I didn't clip, which I absolutely need to go back to clip. It was freaking a good conversation. I feel like adding on top of it would just be either saying the same thing or just saying it worse. So like, with everything that we've said here and everything we said there, just combines perfectly.
Yeah, I wish I just remembered what was said back then.
Or how well it was said, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would also be really interesting to play with the fatherly dynamic of Naruto versus Jigen. Now you also get Naruto versus Amado as
And
Kawaki's
Amado.
parental figure, which really ties into False
Yeah.
Perfections and what they did there. But anyways, yeah,
I have an even goofier one.
okay.
You do grandfather and grandchild theme, and so you get Hiyashi Hyuga to contrast with Amado. Because Hiyashi's like the doting grandfather who loves his grandchildren. Amado uses them like tools.
Yeah.
You could bring in Hiyashi for that.
I guess to potentially restate some of what I was saying in the Koro stream, I think this is what it was, is I would love if they really played with Amado's character of why he doesn't care about the Delta or Kawaki clones, and that he's so steadfast, one mind tracked focused on getting back to the original design. It's like focusing on the end goal rather than the journey along the way. Like, yeah, he can still focus on the end goal, but appreciate the time you have now with Delta or Kawaki. Or is it even technically okay to erase the existence of Delta and Kawaki in favor of what you would prefer? Akebi over Delta, or Kawaki, the actual Kawaki, over the current Kawaki.
I will also say, if all Kawakis just are clones, which obviously you gotta address the Kawaki's dad situation, but what you could do though is Amado seems to canonically treat his clones as tools, so Akebi could be the only original human, and that's why he just sees her as different. And so Kawaki would be like Koji, where it's just a clone. He sees him as just a clone. He doesn't see him as a child. Whereas Orochimaru, by contrast, is seeing his clones as real children.
Yeah.
Ironically, Orochimaru is the one being the good parent here.
But I was exactly going to get into exactly that. I want them to play with what they did with Amado and Koji with this dynamic if they're going down that route. I think that's perfect. The way that he discarded Koji as a tool, he's a sacrifice. The fact he's willing to do that to a clone. To be fair, he's not related to Jiraiya as far as we're aware of, but still. The fact that he's willing to do that, I want Kawaki to mention that as well, especially now that Kawaki knows Koji's still in the picture.
Yeah, especially if he finds out that Koji... Well, here's the problem. He's not going to find out that Koji wasn't on board because they retconned Koji's opinion, so...
Yeah. Well, at the very least, a scene of Koji talking to Kawaki could be nice in this regard. Be like, hey, this is about Amado. Watch out for this exact reason, because this is what you are, and this is what I was. This is what he did.
Yeah, actually, that would be a cool way to